What is going on, AZ Sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon? Well, we're here to have our weekly roundtable. And of course, we got my usual peeps. We got Joe, we got CG, we got Steezy's back up in the house. The one and only Steezy, brother, man. We've missed you, man. How you been? Love the scruff.
Man. Yeah, you guys probably
feeling
seen
good.
Me like this. Yeah, I know I've missed some time, missed a couple of weeks. I missed y'all. Feeling good. Today is the best that I felt in a week. And so, yeah, here's to hoping, by the end of the week, I'll be back in the studio. And I don't know, I kind of like this scruffy look. I don't think I've had this much facial hair in ever. So, thank you.
Yeah, man, definitely. Well, I'm actually really excited here. This is going to be our second week going into the season. And hey, man, all of us are 1-0 right now. Who would have freaking thought that, we're all going to be 1-0. So that's obviously what we're going to talk about today. The good, the bad, of the ugly of our matchups, what we saw, what we didn't like. And obviously we'll talk about next week's matchup as well. And then we're going to open up to Q&A after we're done with our topic. So let's get started with our first topic, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me get my banner all set up here. Recapping week one. Let's start off with my guy CG, man. CG, talk to me. How did the 49ers do against the Detroit Lions?
It was an ugly performance. I'll be straightforward about it, man. This game was pretty much, we could have closed it easily. But what happened? We got too relaxed, and I feel like if we play like this, I think Philadelphia would beat us. So it's like, I want to see if this team will show up against the Eagles. If they got to make adjustments. So I got to say it was one of the worst performances in the fourth quarter. You had 2 minutes. You had a chance to close the game, but you gave them a chance to get close to overtime. So that's giving me a question mark, What's going on?
Yeah, man, that's frustrating. Yeah, because I remember looking at the scoreboard because obviously I'm watching the Arizona Cardinals, and I see you guys doing what you said last week, that you guys were going to curb stomp the Detroit Lions, and you were doing it, but they were sneaking up. What happened? You said you just got relaxed. Is that what's going on? And I saw Trey Lance too, so we'll talk about that a little later.
Oh yeah, we were too relaxed, we were too cocky, and Shanahan just thought everything was going to be all right. And then the way he panicked kind of showed the sign of, like, what was he thinking? Like, at first we were curb stomping, and then the last 2 minutes of the game kind of seemed like it was going to be close to overtime. So it's kind of like, I felt like we were going to curb stomp them, but then we just got too relaxed, and it just really backfired us a little bit. And maybe my mouth might have spoke for itself. So it's like, come on.
That happens, man. That happens. Let's move on to the next one. Let's talk to Joe. Rams Showcase, man. You were the primetime game. Bears versus Rams. How did you guys feel like you did? Good, the bad, the ugly. What's up?
Man, overall, pretty freaking good, man. That was fun to watch, for sure. The good, for sure, is the quarterback position, man. It's you could feel a difference there. We just felt more comfortable in that position. And I'm definitely not going to take the chance to just sit here and like rail on Goff or anything. But there was definitely some plays where it's like it felt like he would have taken a sack there or something like that, and Stafford was able to turn those plays into positive gains. And one of those that I'm thinking of was that touchdown to Robert Woods there near the end where he had the sweet toe tap there. That's probably a sack if that's Jared Goff. So I don't want to stay on that, but it felt real nice to have Stafford in there. You could feel that he's got a lot of really strong experience. The bad is definitely the run defense right now, but also we kind of just let them run. So I don't know if that's really a good gauge to see the run defense, because there was times we were sitting there with like a 5-man box. We were just letting them run the ball on us. So I don't know if that was something of, say, it like us just letting the world know we are not going to let Andy Dalton beat us, but overall, I feel pretty good after that game. My score prediction was 34-13, so I was just 1 point off. So I feel pretty good about that too, man. But overall, great day for the Rams.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, let's talk about the Cardinals, and then we're going to move on to the Seahawks right after me. So I can't speak for Steezy because he wasn't here yesterday, but I heard a lot of people not talking good stuff about my Arizona Cardinals, and we came and show up, and we curb stomped the Tennessee Titans, which I'm absolutely super excited about, man. The Tennessee Titans, and I'm curious to figure out what the matchup and, Steezy for next week and stuff like that, but I didn't expect that. I thought that we were going to win the game, obviously being super optimistic as a fan and stuff like that. I just did not see the way that it played out. Derrick Henry was shut down. For the most part, his main yards that he got from us were kind of, I don't want to say garbage time, but it was more, in third quarter when we're kind of lax in the fourth quarter and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy, but the Arizona Cardinals did a very good job. One thing I was worried about was the cornerbacks because of Malcolm Butler ended up suddenly retiring, but we actually held our own. But Chandler freaking Jones, man. Chandler freaking Jones, 5 sacks. You guys should be worried. Let me tell you this, man. This guy's going for a freaking contract. Watch out when we get our first division match. I just got to say that. Go ahead, Steezy. Let me know you're good and bad and the ugly.
Yeah, honestly, for the good, there's a lot to get into. But one of the things I do want to touch on is I think Shane Waldron is the missing piece for the Seattle Seahawks football team. I mean, not only did the offense look lethal, not only was the offense efficient, not only was the offense explosive, not only was the offense pretty much flawless aside from a couple of stall drives in the third quarter and a lost fumble on Chris Carson's end, but the offensive line held up for the most part. I mean, Seattle only gave up 3 sacks. One of those sacks was a scramble play by Russ Wilson where he got tackled at the line of scrimmage as he was attempting to scramble. And so I don't really know if that sack is a sack that I'd use to count against the offensive line. But as far as that goes, the offensive line, in my estimation, only gave up 2 sacks. And this is a loaded Indianapolis defense that we're talking about. I understand they have some concerns in their pass rush, but this team was a top 10 defense last year. And last time I checked, Darius Leonard still played, DeForest Buckner played, Kwity Paye played. And yet our offensive line was able to kind of hold up its end of the bargain. And I know that's kind of aided by the play calling of Shane Waldron. He's calling up plays that, get the ball into the hands of playmakers rather quickly. He's getting the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands very fast because, as we're all accustomed to, Russell Wilson holds on to the football a lot longer than, other quarterbacks do. And while he's able to create magic, it also leads to a lot of sacks that not a lot of other quarterbacks would usually take or normally take in those situations. And so I think Shane Waldron is really the missing piece. The offense didn't look so vanilla. We saw a lot of those fly sweeps, the patented pre-snap motions of the Sean McVay offenses, that we're used to seeing in the last couple of years. And, we converted on third down at a rather efficient rate because that was one of the problems that I had, with this football team last year. And so a lot of those concerns were really eased. As far as the bad goes, I'd have to go with Chris Carson's fumbling issues. I know this is nitpicking, but a couple of years ago, he was one of the league leaders in total fumbles lost. And last year, he was able to clean that up. But, man, to lose that fumble against Darius Leonard, I know not a lot of linebackers can make that play. I know not a lot of running backs can hold on to the football in that situation. But the only reason why it's a problem for me is because Chris Carson has a history, even dating back to college, when it comes to turning over the football, not having the ball security that he needs, kind of getting lackadaisical in terms of his ball security. And so that's kind of a concern of mine. Another concern is there were 3 drives in a row when Seattle went 3-and-out in the third quarter. And so I don't know what happened there, a failure to make adjustments. Indy's still an elite defense. And so, credit to them. But there isn't a lot of bad to get into. It really just Chris Carson and those stalled drives. But overall, I mean, special teams, magnificent. Offense looked spectacular. The defense held its own without KJ Wright. So we'll probably get into it a little later, but a lot of good here. A lot of good.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give a quick shout out here, and this is going to go to Steezy here. I have this new video that I just created. This is for my new super chatters here. Let me get this going real quick.
Got him!
All right, appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so very much. This is for CG. It says Verrett being out is huge. I don't know why it's not being talked about it more. That's the one position the Niners couldn't really afford to lose. Any insights on CG?
Yeah, pretty much, because he was pretty much the best corner we had. Like, besides all that, that was the one position we could not afford to lose during the season was that position. And it just happened, unfortunately. But lucky for us, we were able to sign Dre Kirkpatrick. It's not going to replace the production of Jason Verrett by any means, but he'll at least be decent enough to get the job done. But, yeah, Jason Verrett was a hell of a good player. But losing him it's going to be tough to overcome. So I think that's going to be a little hard to replace. I mean, it's man, it really kind of made me frustrated at the fact that he's injured. It's not again. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
And then Mostert's out for the season too. He cannot catch a break.
He can't. I agree with you there. That's very, very frustrating. I always have him in my fantasy football. Obviously, mine's for completely different reasons and it's selfish. But he's always hurt and it sucks. But let me ask you, man. Trent Sherfield and Trey Lance, do they have a special thing going on? Trent Sherfield was a former Arizona Cardinals, and obviously Trey Lance came in and got a touchdown, right?
Yeah, during the offseason, they were clicking chemistry. They were working out together, and the click just started getting in, and it went on from training camp to the preseason. Now it's kind of showing into the regular season. Like that first touchdown pass, you saw that play designed for Trent Sherfield, and I think it's going to start getting better. This guy's starting to improve a lot. So I like the fact we brought him in. He was pretty much a guy that wasn't guaranteed a roster spot, but maybe a special teamers. But now he's moving up to the depth chart. That speaks a lot about this guy. I don't know what you guys did to this guy. I guess he is our guy we're taking now.
Yeah, it's just he just never had a solid spot. Honestly, I think he's dynamite. Honestly, and if you guys take care of him, sky's the limit. That's awesome, man. Let's move on to the next topic that we have here, and that is going to be talking about our next week's matchups. Now, let me first start off here. So next week's matchup, who you got winning? So my next matchup is going to be the Minnesota Vikings, and they lost recently to the Bengals. I believe it was an overtime loss, and I don't know. I might be on this high. I really might be, but I think the Cardinals will win. I think the Cardinals will definitely win this out. We'll start off 2-0, and we'll be looking pretty good. I mean, it's kind of the same concept, although not really. I know, Titans are more of a run first, with Derrick Henry, give him the ball, that type of stuff. And it's kind of different when it comes down to the Minnesota Vikings with Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen and Jefferson and stuff like that. But I see the Cardinals winning this one. So we're going to go in circle and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think the Cardinals will win? And I'm going to keep this tallied on here on my beautiful pink paper here. So, Joe, you're next.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are that good, and I think that the Arizona Cardinals showed us a little bit of their firepower this last week. So I think that's a pretty easy pick for the Cardinals.
Yeah, boy. All right, cool beans. Awesome. CG, what you got? Cardinals, Minnesota.
Cardinals, man. I'm going to have to give you guys your props. Congratulations for dominating the Tennessee Titans. I see it continue on for this game. Minnesota may have a solid offense and their defense is okay, but you guys will be able to expose that defense a little bit. So I think as far as the score prediction, I'll go on a limb and say Arizona 24, Vikings 13.
Woo, buddy. All right, cool. Steezy, what you got, man?
Yeah, I gotta roll with the Cards here. I mean, the Vikings aren't very good, and they lost to another team that wasn't very good as well, and the Cincinnati Bengals, and that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, especially going into a matchup against the Cardinals, who I believe had the most complete Week 1 victory, and they looked the most dominating in doing so. So let's go AZ, I guess.
Let's go. Cool. Awesome. I got the respect finally. Oh, it makes me happy. All right, let's move on to. Let's go to Steezy. Steezy, let us know your next matchup, who you got winning, and then we'll go in circle.
So Week 2, Seattle's going to have a home opener against the Tennessee Titans, the team that you guys just dismantled on their home turf. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go as far as to say that Seattle's going to do the same thing that Arizona did, but I'm going to go out and say Seattle gets the dub here. Initially, I had Seattle losing this game to Tennessee, but seeing how Tennessee looked in that Week 1 opener, I mean, my gosh, it just looked like they weren't ready to go. They were ill-prepared. They didn't look like they wanted to be there. They didn't look like they knew what they were doing. It doesn't look like they have the chemistry amongst themselves. It doesn't look like they're fully on the same page with their new offensive coordinator. And so until they really start to get on the same page, I can't see and I don't see Seattle losing in its home opener, especially with how dominant all three phases of the team looked this past Sunday in Indianapolis. And so knowing Seattle, the fans are going to be back, and Seattle feeds off of that, obviously, with the 12th man. And I think Seattle runs away with at least they win by a touchdown. So I'm going to go Seattle 31, Tennessee 21.
Nice. All right, man. I'll let you popcorn it. Who do you want next?
Oh, yeah, okay. And so, yeah, with that being said, Seattle on its home opener, who you guys got? CG?
I got Seattle by 3 points. It's going to be one of those little ugly starts. I think Tennessee's going to start to get their act together, and they're going to probably play their best football as far as that slump against Arizona. But I'm still going to give the edge to Seattle 31-34, and it's going to be a little close game. It's going to be a little high score. Tannehill's probably going to have a really good game because that secondary of Seattle is a weakness. So I can see Derrick Henry kind of getting back on the flow, but I could see Russell Wilson making that comeback and win by 3 points. So I got Seattle.
Yes, sir. Joe?
All right, so Tennessee might be a little bit of frauds. I think that overall nationally, people might be a little too high on Tennessee. They do have some absolute monsters. Obviously, we know Derrick Henry. Everybody's going to mention Derrick Henry. I don't think you're allowed to talk about the Titans without. And then obviously the addition of Jones, stuff like that. But I really think like their turnover, I think that I want to say that I saw that they had the most new starters of anybody in the league. So like the most turnover at the start at like starters across the board. So maybe they will be good this year, but I think that would be later on in the season. So I think that this is a pretty easy win for Seattle. Seattle was I think the word that I would describe them last week was efficient. They didn't do anything that explosive, but they just did a good job moving the ball and stopping the Colts. So I think that they'll bring that, especially at home. Those fans are going to be insane. Sam Dogg will be there, who was here last week with us. I think that the Seahawks take that one pretty easy.
Nice.
Last but not least, Mike.
All right, I'll go last. So firsthand, I was able to see, what we did to them, and I do think it was a kind of a combination between, like them not practicing a lot because they were having so much issues with everything that's going on in the world right now. Not practicing, their head coach was out, all this different stuff. So I think that was just kind of we caught them at a perfect time. They are a very good team. I just think that the moment that Derrick Henry was getting shut down at the line, either J.J. Watt or Chandler Jones, they got punched in the mouth and they really didn't know kind of how to rebound because all they really know is Derrick Henry. And the moment that they started bringing up, A.J. Brown, it was working. Tannehill had a beautiful laser to make a touchdown with A.J. Brown. So I got to give him kudos to that. But the chemistry with Julio Jones wasn't there. And it was very, very apparent. Maybe they might clean it up this second week, but I cannot go against Russell Wilson, man. I've seen him time and time again. Whenever he's down, my goodness, you give this guy a minute. You give this guy a minute and freaking 5 seconds, he's going to come back. So I got Seattle again, kind of like CG, 3-point game. I would say 27-30. It's going to be 27-27. Seattle has the ball last, and they end up winning. And it sucks for Tennessee because they have some, Super Bowl aspirations.
So we're going to the Rams now?
Yes, let's go Rams.
I apologize for the difficulty.
Oh, wait. No, you're good, man. You're good. So the LA Rams this week travel to Indianapolis, the team that the Seahawks just defeated in week 1. Coming off that big win against the Bears, I think that this is going to be a pretty similar outcome to what we saw out of the Seahawks against the Colts. I think it'll just be, nothing too crazy. I don't think we'll go super over the top. I don't think we'll see like a 67-yard bomb on Stafford's second pass again or anything like that. But, maybe that's something that we see all season. I'd be cool with it. But I think that the matchup just, I think, favors the Rams here. I think that we're just a better football team than the Colts. I think that will be I haven't given any score predictions, but I do think that's a double-digit win for the Rams on the road. Mm-hmm. I'll start with we'll go to you, Mike.
Let's go. All right, cool. So I can't have this show and everybody going 4-0. We just can't have a show like that. I do think that the Colts they have a good defense. They have a very good defense. Hopefully Carson Wentz gets his stuff together. I'm gonna say loss, and I don't believe it. But I do think it's kind of a 50-50 kind of thing because I do think that the Colts will bounce back. I think that they're a very good team. So I'm going to go Colts by 7 points. So I would say 17-24 Colts.
Yeah, just because we don't have anybody who's on pace for 85 sacks, all right, man.
Yeah, exactly. hey, shots fired now, huh? Yeah.
All right, what about you, Steezy?
Man, like you said, bro, the team is just a lot better. The Colts are still rolling out the same offensive line they rolled out against my Seahawks, and that is going to be a lot of trouble. They don't have an Eric Fisher, so they're rolling out a Julian Davenport who gave up about 8 pressures. Both their tackles gave up a lot of pressures, and so only to go up against an Aaron Donald and the type of pass rushers that you guys have on the football team, Leonard Floyd, I don't think that's going to bode very well for Carson Wentz. Now, your guys' run defense might struggle against a Jonathan Taylor, but I just don't think that Carson Wentz has the requisite weapons necessary to be able to cause anything or cause any sorts of dents whatsoever towards you guys' pass defense. And I have a hard time seeing them score the football, with that being said. So I think you guys come out of this game rather, I think you guys win fairly easy, I mean to say. And I'm not going to say double digits, but I think you guys definitely win by at least a touchdown. So my score, I'm going to go 28, LA, Indianapolis, 19.
Nice.
Oh, not bad. Yeah, it's kind of interesting with the weapons. T.Y. Hilton being out is obviously beneficial, and I think that the Bears' weapons might be maybe a little bit stronger than what the Colts will have on the field. But what about you, CG?
All right. I got the Rams winning in a dominant fashion. I'm going to say this. They're going to curb stomp the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are just a little rusty. I still think they'll have a later season improvement, but I got the Rams winning 35 to 17. So I got the Rams winning. They're going to dominate. Aaron Donald's going to get to Carson Wentz. I just see the Rams becoming explosive. Matthew Stafford really impressed me against the Bears, and I can imagine what he could do to the Colts defense. I mean, sure, they got my boy DeForest Buckner, who we should have never traded in the first place, but it is what it is. But I just think the Rams are just too much to handle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's 3-1. So 3 of you guys say Rams. Me being the outlier, just want to be different. All right, I got them losing as an upset. All right, CG, man, you're up.
The 49ers and Eagles. This is going to be a really tough one. If the way we're playing, it can go ugly. But if we make adjustments, I want to sound realistic. I want to sound optimistic in a way that maybe this will be a quick turnaround right away. So I'm going to go with 31-27 49ers. I think it's going to come down to a very close game. I think the Eagles are going to actually play a real good team. And no offense to the Atlanta Falcons, they don't have a really good defense. And Matt Ryan's kind of lost a step a little bit. So I think we're going to give Eagles some problems there. So I got us winning.
All right, man. Who do you want to hear from first, CG?
All right, AZ, you're next.
All right, here we go. Cool. So the Eagles, I honestly thought coming into this year, I did not think much of them. I'm not going to lie to you. But the fashion that they curb stomp the Falcons was absolutely embarrassing. So I think the 49ers are going to hold this L. I really do. And the only reason why, here's my reasoning. I want to see freaking Trey Lance. I want to see Trey Lance, and I want my prediction to be true in week 3 to 5 that he's going to be out and Jimmy G's he's done for. So I say Eagles because they're a better team than I thought they were going to be. So I say Eagles. I'm disrespectful today, Honda. I'm just disrespectful. Yeah, so I'm going to say 49ers. I'm sorry. Wow, Eagles. My bad.
All right. Steezy, you're next for the pick.
Man, make it a party of 2. And I'm not just saying that just to say that, I don't think all NFC West teams will go 4-0 this week. I actually think that while San Fran is a better football team than the Philadelphia Eagles, I just think that there is going to be an element of surprise on Philadelphia's end. I think that, there's only about 4 to 5 games worth of tape on Jalen Hurts, and I still think that he has a lot more to show that, maybe the NFL world has yet to see. And with the injuries that you guys are dealing with, Jason Verrett, the center is already in question. Now your top cornerback goes down for the season. I understand there's a lot of potential in the running back room, but I think that this is going to be one of those victories in the NFL season in which we were just like, wow, how did that happen? And I think that Philadelphia is kind of on its way to becoming maybe a dark horse, not just in the NFC East, but in the NFC as a whole. I mean, that defense, like a lot of guys are healthy. Offensive line is healthy. They have some weapons. They have a dynamic quarterback in Jalen Hurts. And like I said, they're probably just going to catch the 49ers off guard on a bad day, And so, that being said, I think it's going to be a close game. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored on both sides of the football, but I think Philadelphia ultimately comes out on top, 33-30.
Wow. All right. I guess that means that I'm up. You guys are overreacting dramatically to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is absolutely ridiculous. All right, there is so much to unpack here. I'm going to try to do it as quick as I can. Okay, so the Atlanta Falcons are not a very good football team, and I think everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. They went with Kyle Pitts instead of going after one of those quarterbacks, and I think already the front office might be regretting some of their decisions in this offseason already. Then you also have the 49ers, who are absolutely just beating the butt cheeks off of the Detroit Lions, and then they just pulled off the gas completely. And a Dan Campbell run team is not going to follow suit and just allow the game to end. They're going to try to fight back. So you had like the Dan Campbell attitude over here, and then the Niners thinking that the game was basically over, that led to that game being an 8-point game, which is not nearly indicative of the way that game was actually played. The 49ers outplayed the Lions dramatically. The Philadelphia Eagles are not that good of a football team. And that coach, I am not buying any of Sirianni right now. I think that was a fluke win, a big win week 1, because you don't really know what to expect. I don't see any way that the 49ers lose this game to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are absolute frauds. I don't buy it for 1 minute. I'm going to say in that locker room too this week, Shanahan is going off on everybody for easing up, and I don't think there's any way that they don't play a amazing full 4 quarters and just roll through the Philadelphia Eagles. I got the Niners big. So yes, I'm going NFC best, going 4-0 for Joe's.
Wow. All right. So 2-2 for the 49ers, at least for our front panel here. Let me go ahead and shout 49ers Ultimate Report. Let me go ahead and give him my Betty White.
Got him! Got him!
All right, perfect. 49ers here says Eagles offense was eye-opening. If our secondary does not play well, that can cost the 49ers. If our secondary plays well, 49ers could win. What's your thoughts there, CG?
I totally agree with Ultimate Report 100%. I was on his stream like yesterday, and it's a good point because our secondary has to step up in order to play good against the Eagles, because that rookie receiver, he's pretty damn good. They got some other speedy receivers, and if we can't, we are pretty much in long days. So it's going to be a tough match. It's going to be a tough day if we play like bad in coverage. So we definitely got to be on our A game. So I agree with Ultimate Report 100%.
I don't see it, man. And how is nobody going to talk about Debo too? Like,
yeah, Debo went off.
Why am I the most confident in the
almost 200 yards, baby?
We got Joe here more confident in the 49ers than CG, right? Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Cool. All right. Well, so here's what we have. We got 4-0 for the Cardinals, 4-0 for the Seahawks, 3-1 for the Rams because I want to be negative, and then 49ers 2-2 with me and Steezy saying that they're gonna have off days. We're not saying 49ers are a bad team. It's just that we think that they might catch them off guard. So those are the picks for the week. Hopefully we're right. But let's move on to the next topic here. So obviously we went over let's just open up to Q&A. Let's talk to each other. Who has questions? All this stuff. Who's got something?
Steezy, I got a question for you.
Ask away.
What do the Rams need to do to the Colts? You saw them last week.
To win or just?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I think really just take advantage of all the weapons you guys have. I mean, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson, Tyler Higbee played all the snaps. Darrell Henderson in the pass game. Maybe you see a little bit of Sony Michel. The way that Seattle was kind of able to, Russell Wilson in particular, the way he was able to eviscerate through that defense, throwing lasers, throwing bombs. I think LA, they kind of saw the formula for how to defeat the Colts. I mean, like I said, last year the Colts were an elite defense, top 5, top 10. Their pass defense was elite. The run defense was elite. I think you guys need to maybe mix in a little bit of play action, kind of get Darrell Henderson going, just because it wasn't until the fourth quarter in which he really started to get his legs under him. So I think really just, a couple of deep shots, test some of those guys out there on the secondary. Xavier Rhodes, I don't know if he's going to be healthy enough to play, but if there's a weakness in that defense, aside from pass rush, it is going to be from the outside corners and just their ability to kind of defend the deep ball. So really take shots down the field, use play action, take advantage of all the receivers you guys have out there because their secondary isn't healthy.
All right. I love the weapons for the Rams, man. I was actually really surprised, too, to see that Tyler Higbee played 100% of the Rams' offensive snaps. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've seen that from a tight end ever.
So you're telling me to get Tyler Higbee in fantasy football?
Do that. Do that.
He's going to play.
Awesome.
Okay, CG, I have a question for your Niners. So, without Jason Verrett, what are your guys' options at corner? Are you going to elevate someone from the practice squad? Or are you going to trade for – I know he's on the PUP list, but are you going to trade for Stephon Gilmore? Or are you going to sign a corner off the street? What's it looking like?
At the moment, we just recently signed Dre Kirkpatrick, so he's likely going to either immediately fill in or we're going to likely play Josh Norman. It's kind of like either way. So it's like we've actually yeah, he should have a week of practice and all the films in, so he should be in game shape. So between him and Kirkpatrick, one of the two will play. So it's like we got Mosley coming back from an injury, so he should be good to go against the Eagles. I just think the other spot would be the concerning spot because I feel confident with Mosley at the other side than I do with this guy because Dante Johnson, we got to get rid of this guy. Sorry, man. You can't cover to save your life, man. Come on.
Okay, and then one more question because it is a 49ers question. Is this the last of Raheem Mostert in San Francisco? I know he's out for the year.
Very good question. He's on a contract year.
Yes, exactly. Does he resign? Or
that's a really tough one because he's on a contract year. And the injury just didn't really help his cause. And we got some running backs. We just drafted a running back in the 6th round that's actually looking really good right now. And he had like one of his rookie debuts where he had 104 yards. And then we got Trey Sermon coming from the next game. So it looks to me running backs are not much. We always tend to replace them with a different system. So he might just be like another Matt Breida, come from another team and not do too good. So I don't know. We shall see.
Interesting.
Gotcha. Okay. I got a question for you, Steezy. Josh Gordon has been reinstated again as the Seahawks get going for him again.
See, we just talked about that on the show that I was just on right before this, and my answer is yes. Right now, Seattle's dealing with a couple of injuries in the wide receiver room. Dwayne Eskridge and Penny Hart are both in the concussion protocol, and so that leaves 3 wide receivers on the Seattle active roster. Obviously, they're going to have to elevate some guys from the practice squad, but I think Josh Gordon will be a perfect fit. Not only is he still an athletic specimen, but I think he'd be a fit in the system. You know, I think we could see him on a few fly sweeps. I think we could see him, you know, with a couple of screens. I know he can excel in the deep ball game. And so I think he'd be a great fit, a tremendous fit. It's all about whether or not he's in shape, but he does love it here in Seattle, and I don't think any other team would be willing to give him a chance. So, yeah, I'd love to see him back in Seattle, and I think it happens.
It's fair. All right, Joe, got a question for you. Running backs. I know Sony Michel came in. We talked about it a couple round tables back. Is Henderson the guy for them in terms of like the number one guy? Or is you going to see Sony Michel a little bit more implemented in this offense, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think this entire time I've kind of been saying that it's Hendo's team, you know, and those other guys will get in rotationally. But Henderson played a lot more than Michel did. And you kind of expect that in week 1. Overall, I think by the end of the season, we'll see a 50-25-25 kind of split, or maybe a little bit more for Michel than for somebody like Jake Funk. But the coaching staff really likes Jake Funk as well, though. So I do think we start to see him eventually. But there was a moment there where, we're getting pretty late into the game. It's like we've only seen Henderson at running back. Well, actually, we even saw Robert Woods there for a little bit. He's in the backfield taking carries. So a little bit surprised by that. But Henderson's definitely the guy. And I think that as the game went on, I think he just got a little bit kind of just knocked off the rust a little bit. So, hopefully, like Steezy mentioned, we can get that run game going a little bit early. I feel like we kind of used the run game just to end the game and kill the clock instead of actually using it to set anything up. So I'd like to see that change. I think there was a moment where Henderson had 5 carries for 3 yards or something. It just wasn't good. The run blocking just looked really just unorganized, but started to pick it up there at the end. I don't know if that was an exhaustion thing on the point of the defense or anything, but yeah, definitely need to get that going. But it will be Henderson mainly.
Cool. I got a question for all you guys, and we'll start off with Joe. Are you guys buying into the Kool-Aid of the Arizona Cardinals? I know I was talking about maybe, a wild card, but man, when we get a win like that, people always talk about the division and stuff like that. Because we're on my channel, I want to hear you guys' opinion. Let's start off with Joe. Do you think that the Cardinals can win the division, or do you think they're a playoff team, but don't touch your number 1 spot?
That's tough to win this division because, I mean, all 4 teams played so well. So to say that, the Cardinals after that game is like they're ready to take the number 1 spot, it's like, well, all 4 of these teams, I think, are ready to take the number 1 spot. It's going to be a heck of a battle all season long. But I will say that based on that game and how the Arizona Cardinals played, not just the fact that they won big and anything like that, but the way that they stopped Henry, the way that they won the game, really impressed me. And I think that going into the season, I was kind of underestimating the Arizona Cardinals a little bit. So I do think that they're a better team than I thought. So that does I don't know what that shakes up as far as my my predictions of the standings or anything, but man, all 4 played so good. It's still impossible to say who's going to win this, man.
It's crazy. CG, what you got, man? Or just the Kool-Aid of Kyler Murray in general. Because I remember overrated was a question we asked earlier.
All right. As far as the Cardinals, as far as you get talking about you guys being playoffs, man, how about we just pump the brakes? Wait, it's the first half of the season. I don't want you to have your hopes up, dude. Remember last season? You guys were starting out hot. I want to see if you guys can finish in December. And then maybe I might change my mind. So right now, pump the brakes, man.
Dang. All right. I respect it. Steezy, what you got, man?
Well, you kind of snuck in a second question there. You asked are we drinking the Kool-Aid of Kyler Murray? I've been drinking his Kool-Aid. I mean, I think on this show, I've mentioned it ad nauseum. I think he's a dark horse candidate to win MVP this year and 5 touchdowns in his first game. I mean, I think right now he has to be number 1 in the MVP race. I understand it's week 1. I understand they faltered down the stretch in the last couple of years, but this Arizona Cardinals team, there's something about it. It just feels different. Kyler Murray feels like he's kind of on that elite echelon of quarterbacks now. J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, you guys are probably going to have a top 5 pass rush. The receivers you guys have, Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk. I mean, my gosh, 5 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. D-Hop, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns on 6 catches. Rondale Moore, I mean, I think you guys have it all. The offensive line's better. My question has always been Cliff Kingsbury, but I think he might be okay right on the coattails of Kyler Murray, Chandler Jones, and the rest of this football team. So I'm all in.
Yeah, I agree, man. Awesome. Perfect. So we'll end it on that note, obviously, because we want to keep it at the 35, 40-minute mark. So we'll end it that way. That is going to be our episode of the Roundtable. Guys, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Next week, we will be on Rams Showcase. Make sure you check on everybody's community tab. And on the description of this video, there's a link for everybody's channel. We got Rams Showcase, CG, Steezy, it's rhymed, Steezy A Smith, all that different stuff, guys. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to them. This is going to be fun, especially when we start playing each other. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Go Cards.